YouTube, welcome to my channel. My name is Robert, and as you can see, it's going home day. Yay! Time at work is done. I get to go home for 10 days. So hopefully the next time you see me on Friday will be in my home studio. I'm excited for that. And today I thought I'd watch a video by the operations room, the sinking of the Bismarck. You're asking yourselves, why are you doing that? Well, somebody in the kitchen was playing old music, and one of the songs that came on was called Sink the Bismarck. I thought, hey, what the hell? Why not? And what do I know about the Bismarck? Well, it was a German battleship. It had massive main guns and had some good armor, and it was another ship in history that was considered unsinkable. But we all know how those end up. And before we get into this, if you'd like to support my channel, feel free to subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything, and it's 100% free, and it really helps me out. Hit the post notification bell. When I drop new content, you'll be notified. Give the video a thumbs up, and feel free to leave a comment. Okay, here we go. The operations room, the sinking of the Bismarck. Here we go.
The Bismarck, a brand new German battleship that some believe to be unsinkable, leaves Gertenhaven.
Another ship that was considered to be unsinkable was the Titanic, and we know what happened there.
If the Royal Navy can't find and stop her, she will do fatal damage to the Atlantic convoys that are feeding Britain and keeping her in the war. The great pursuit has begun. With the growing U-boat threat in the Atlantic, Britain is struggling to keep her supply lines open. Naval convoys transport food, oil and war material from the rest of the Empire and the North Americas, but the silent underwater hunters are doing great damage. The situation is bleak, but in May 1941 still just sustainable. However, the German plan for Bismarck, Operation Rheinübung, is to escape the British naval blockade on Germany and make her way into the North Atlantic, free to prey on merchant shipping at range with her 8 15-inch guns, and with 320mm thick belt armour, there's nothing the convoy escorts can do about it. If successful, Bismarck could deal a damaging blow to the British war effort. After skirting the Norwegian coast, Bismarck arrives at Bergen with her escort heavy cruiser, Prinz Eugen, for a final resupply. The Royal Navy surface fleet dominates the North Sea, so they hope to remain undetected. They never see the Coastal Command Spitfire that spots them, and return German recon flights over Scapa Flow show the British fleet still anchored. Vice Admiral Gunther Lütjens has no reason to believe the British know of their whereabouts, and the two German ships sail north. The Spitfire returns the photographs of Bismarck, and the Royal Navy deploys its first forces to find her. British battleship HMS Prince of Wales, battlecruiser HMS Hood, and 6 destroyers slip their moorings and set sail into the Atlantic. HMS Hood, jewel of the Royal Navy, the most powerful ship in the world for 20 years, is about to meet her match. Other ships are already patrolling the Atlantic and join the search for Bismarck. Cruisers Norfolk and Suffolk are the first to spot her. They are no match in firepower, so try to keep a safe distance and observe. On the morning of the 24th, Hood and the Prince of Wales arrive. The two pairs of heavy ships are pretty evenly matched, but the wind is blowing spray into the rangefinders of the British ships. At 5:52 AM, they open fire. Hood initially fires on the Eugen, before changing to target the Bismarck itself. At 5:55, Bismarck and the Prinz Eugen fire back. The Prince of Wales and Bismarck sustain some damage in the exchanges, and Bismarck develops an oil leak. Hood takes a hit, causing fire. At 6 AM, a new salvo tears through Hood's weak top deck armour. A shell burrows into the heart of the ship and detonates. The entire spine of the ship snaps in two as the magazine explodes, and both rear turrets are blown into the sea. Within seconds, the mighty Hood, the naval superpower of the interwar years, sinks. Now outnumbered and taking punishing hits, the Prince of Wales disengages, defeated. Lutjens realises that Bismarck took too much damage in her last engagement to carry on the convoy raiding mission. She will have to make her escape to Brest for repairs. The British Admiralty is shocked by the loss of HMS Hood and decide to commit more of their Atlantic naval firepower to find and sink Bismarck. Bismarck's oil slick is giving the Suffolk and the Norfolk an easy shadow to direct the first reinforcements approaching to join the chase. Aircraft carrier Victorious, battleship King George V and battlecruiser Repulse move in from the east. There's a problem though. Such was the need to react quickly to send ships into the Atlantic to find Bismarck. Victorious has been routed straight from exercises, where she was introducing her new squadron of Swordfish torpedo bombers to ship operations. Her pilots are not operational, have no experience, and some have only performed a carrier landing for the first time days previously. Prince Eugen is to continue the raiding mission alone. Bismarck turns and fires on her pursuers to allow Eugen to escape. At 10 PM or 6 PM local time, Victorious launches her 9 inexperienced Swordfish crews and Fulmer fighters to observe the attack. They have difficulties finding Bismarck, but eventually make their attacks under heavy fire. One Swordfish drops a torpedo which detonates against the hull, but doesn't cause any major damage. As day turns to night, the pursuers lose sight of Bismarck and then lose radar contact. Bismarck changes course directly towards France. Away to the southeast, the Royal Navy has ordered battleship Rodney and cruisers Dorsetshire and Edinburgh to join the chase. Force H is en route from Gibraltar, made up of carrier Ark Royal, battlecruiser Renown and cruiser Sheffield. The pursuers are searching for Bismarck. Lutjens makes a mistake. He continues to transmit frequent radio message reports to the German Admiralty, letting them know that he now intends to sail to Brest. Radio direction finders across Britain pick up the message and are able to broadly triangulate the Bismarck's position at each message transmission.
Idiot.
The code breakers at Bletchley Park then use their top-secret Enigma machine to decipher the message. The British Admiralty now know where she is and where she is heading. 5 destroyers, including 1 Polish, are retasked from escorting nearby convoy WS-8B to the chase. Coastal Command aircraft are dropping mines on the approaches into Brest. British luck changes. A long-range RAF Catalina flying boat finds what it came to search for and reports the location of Bismarck to the British fleet. The problem to overcome now is that the Bismarck is still matching the speed of the Royal Navy ships. To catch it would require slowing it down. A few hours later, Ark Royal of Force H launches her Swordfish torpedo bombers. It hasn't been communicated to the pilots that light cruiser Sheffield has used her speed to catch up with the Bismarck and shadow her, and in the terrible weather conditions they misidentify the two ships. They drop their torpedoes against HMS Sheffield. Luckily, the new and untested magnetic detonators in the torpedoes explode the weapons prematurely, and Sheffield gets away unscathed. The mishap allows Ark Royal to replace the faulty detonators for use against Bismarck. 15 Swordfish again launch, and this time they find Bismarck. They attack from different directions almost simultaneously. Under ferocious AA fire, 3 torpedoes hit. Critically, 1 has jammed her rudder and she loses nearly all steering. Vice Admiral Lutjens sends a message to Germany. Ship unmaneuverable. We shall fight to the last shell. Overnight, the Royal Navy repositioned for the final engagement, while destroyers harass Bismarck with torpedo attacks. She may be disabled, but the guns that sunk HMS Hood in 6 minutes are still very much a threat. At 8:43 AM, HMS Rodney and King George V move head-on against Bismarck. Both battleship's foremost guns fire the first salvos, and as they fall, the Bismarck returns a full broadside against them. The 55-second flight time of the massive barrage is tense, but the shells fall short of the British ships. Cruiser Norfolk joins the engagement with her 8-inch guns. At 8 miles range, King George V and Rodney turn to bring their broadsides to bear, and cruiser Dorsetshire joins the engagement. Bismarck is beginning to take hits to her superstructure, igniting deck fires. Rodney aggressively continues to close the distance. A shell lands danger close off the starboard bow. It's the closest to a direct hit the British receive, as the return fire from Bismarck begins to wane under the ferocious bombardment. She's lost hydraulic power to her A gun turret. Her B turret takes a direct hit, disabling one of the guns, and another barrel bursts in her aft turret. Rodney moves in closer, pounding Bismarck with continuous broadsides. The shorter range secondary guns on the King George V are brought into action. She never raises a flag of surrender, and so the onslaught continues. Over an hour later, the British commanders cannot help but look at Bismarck in awe and admiration. The mighty ship has taken a pounding, and remains afloat for now.
An hour!
A burning wreck, but still defiantly flying her colours, she never surrenders. Knowing that the job is done, and the German U-boats are nearby, the British withdraw. Dorsetshire torpedoes Bismarck, and then begins to pick up survivors with the destroyer Maori. Shortly after, the Bismarck finally goes under the waves. The loss resulted in the German command deciding that they would never again risk German battleships to raid supply convoys in the Atlantic. After the sinking, Admiral John Tovey of the Royal Navy said, "The Bismarck had put up a most gallant fight against impossible odds, worthy of the old days of the Imperial German Navy, and she went down with her colours flying."
Well, there we have it. The sinking of the Bismarck. And I tell you, that was much more informative than what I had already known. I didn't think it took that many ships. And the British almost sunk one of their own. Luckily, their torpedoes malfunctioned, or it could have been a lot worse for them. I do have to agree that, yes, it was kind of foolish to send that type of battleship to stop the convoys. That battleship should not have done that. It should have just sat back and pegged off the Royal Navy, in my opinion. And I hope you enjoyed that just as much as I did. And we'll see you again next time. Have a great day. Goodbye.